Welcome to Let It Happen, the leadership conversation, where leadership is examined, not explained. This is a space for leaders who understand that change doesn't fail because of strategy. It fails of how we show up inside. Each episode is anchored in a chapter of the book Let It Happen. Not to repeat it, but to examine what it asks of us. I'm Mau Espinosa, leadership provocator and author of Let It Happen. I'm joined by Joseph Bartosik, leadership coach and practitioner, focused on emerging leaders and the next generation of leadership. Joseph brings the lens of becoming, the questions, the tensions, the aspirations of leaders early in their journey. Welcome. Well, thank you. Welcome, Julio. Welcome, Joseph. We're here in Mexico, in Querétaro, just finishing a fabulous workshop, don't you think, guys?
Oh, excellent.
It was just mind-blowing, heart-blowing.
Heart-blowing. And it's so interesting how when we have these workshops, they remind us everything we do, we let it happen. And in this podcast, and everybody welcome, we're going to be talking about fear or emotions coming out of fear, frustration, desperation, etc. And all this is based on chapter number 3 of the book, COVID. And one of the biggest theories behind it is theories of change, of stages of change, and how to deal with emotions, fear being one. And we experience a lot of that over here. Joseph, what did you see today or yesterday and today, and on almost every situation when we come into coaching and aspects of those circles that we go into fear and trying to get out of fear, and it seems like we cannot move out of that?
I think one of the biggest things that comes up is emotions, especially quote unquote negative ones that are like fear. We are taught more so to fight, push against such emotions, when what we do is we make them acknowledge that and accept it and embrace that emotion, because it needs to be embraced in order to be identified, and ultimately that's how you progress and move on from those feelings. You have to face them, you can't fight them.
Right. Julio, emotions, horses, how do they react to this? What do they teach us when we're out there and trying to cope or solve? Is it a solving problem?
Well, I believe first that horses just see emotions like emotions. They sense, they sense the field, and in that regard, they give the feedback to every one of us. What I've learned being around horses is the fact that they are so lovable, and they share their love. It's like they say to me, "It is what it is. What do you want to do with this?" Mm-hmm. There's no judgment of what's going on in the inside of the human, and for me, it's really a pleasure to see how they teach me, or they teach us, to be humans again, to feel like humans. That's a friendly reminder.
And that's really cool when we are able to experience this. But in the book, I talk about that historical part that we all three live in very different ways, each one of us, which was COVID. COVID came, and the chapter of this, also of the article, is called The Classroom, where leadership had to be really facing what was happening. And so you leave COVID on a time of your life that I'm assuming, I'm just going to put that out there, that you were looking a little bit more for guidance from leaders or people that you thought they should be leaders, whether were parents or teachers or even in your group, your friends, your brother, I don't know. How did you went through that?
For me, COVID was a unique experience because I got the end of it that was what I was 16 in high school, and I didn't have to do any finals. And then all of a sudden, this week break turned into I just got an extra couple months of school off, and I didn't have to worry about tests or anything. And then once we went back to school, that's when it got chaotic. Is once COVID settled down and became a norm in society, and we were expected to go back to our day-to-day lives, and it wasn't simple anymore.
Yeah.
That's when it got complicated, and that's when nobody knew what we were doing. Nobody wanted to be doing what we were doing, and so all motivation and all direction was lost, and any sense of learning was completely over for my schooling.
So there was I'm assuming there was some uncertainty that was happening at the time.
Oh yeah. We went into lockdown, quarantine about 5 times in a school year, and no one thought of it. It was, we're going to be quarantined again anyway. May as well not do any of the work. It's completely irrelevant. The teachers barely cared to do the work because they felt the exact same way, and so it was as if a waste of time.
Right.
It felt like.
Interesting. And you were here in Mexico, compadre, and you were living a different experience. How was for you? How did you see it in your circle?
I think that, for instance, and I take this part from the article, that all of a sudden there were no answers, there were no memory about an issue or a health impact worldwide. So media, I remember, it was just upside down. You put it one channel and they say we're going to be okay. You put it in the other channel, they say we're lost. And there was no agreement between the authorities, between different countries, what is happening here. So there was a lot of fear putting outside via the media, the talk between the people, because that I don't know what is happening. I don't have a remember about that. Put myself, and I believe everyone, like you wrote in the article, in the classroom of life.
Yeah, because it was very interesting. I mean, I remember those days. I remember I actually was flying back from Europe, and I had to stop at the Houston airport, and also it was like deserted.
Mm-hmm.
It was impressive how there were just a few people, and restaurants were closing. Everything was happening, and it was a sense of fear among everybody. Business owners, what's going to happen to our business? Employees, I'm going to have an employee, how am I going to be getting money? I have bills to pay. Schools, teachers didn't know what to tell the kids. They were reacting, and we're going to do homeschooling. How's it going to work? We're going to have Zoom classes. How we're going to make sure the kids are there? The kids, obviously, from their perspective at the beginning, was like, "Hey, great, right?" But if we look at the complications, the conflicts, the complexity of what was happening at the time, how everybody has to adapt. So that's when leaders had to be really understanding what was happening. And I saw so many actions being taken. And I'm just going to go through a little bit through what we did at G20, right? We set up a platform for all our clients where they were joining on a Zoom call every Monday, and that happened the Monday after I landed from Europe. The moment I knew it was going to be that chaotic, I talked to the clients, each one by phone. I invited them to be part of this one, and we also have a platform where everybody was coming and talking and saying how
what a disaster we were living. And we have people going from, I'm already going into a black room. I'm literally, this is what he said. I already went to my black room. I know how bad this is going to be. I'm pulling all my money out of the banks.
Wow.
I'm just going to make sure that I have enough to be buying groceries for a little bit, and let's see what happens. That was a kind of uncertainty. Now, that's a time that we can go back and refer and study, and I think we're going to see a lot of studies of leadership come out of that specific era. We already see it in books and analysis and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to refer to COVID. I mean, the COVID was the excuse to do this, or part of talking about these topics. I want to talk about our daily lives when something chaotic happens. When we are thinking that things are going right and all of a sudden they're just going completely wrong, right? How do we react?
I think it's what's going to happen immediately is your fight or flight is going to kick in, and you're either going to take action really quick, or you're going to get scared or fearful. You're going to, whatever fight or flight is for you as a person, you're going to be choosing between one of those options. Me personally, when something crazy happens in my day-to-day life that just throws everything off, I drop everything I'm doing, and I decide if it's just too much for me, it's too much for me, and I go home. I go to where I know is my safe space, and I sit and I be in this area until I feel calmness in my life again. And that's how I respond, because when things do become too much, I'm not going to try to engage something that's already too much and make it something more. I prefer to rest, let it settle, and then I can face it properly.
Interesting. Julio?
Well, for me it was really enjoyable, the part of being at house with family. But I remember quite well that in my mind there was no room for trying to fix things, because I don't have any tools, memories, or whatever, how to fix things. For example, regarding the business, it's always live workshops with people. People weren't supposed to go out of their house. So at that stage, I remember going into a phase that I say, okay, it could last like 3 months, and okay, maybe 2 months more. Okay, maybe. So there comes a time, or there was a time over there that I need to take action, and to move from the fight or flight. Mainly, I can recognize myself that I was freeze. Like finding the perfect excuses not to recognize my fear.
So, bringing it to today, you start living a conflict, you start feeling some kind of emotions, as Joseph says, quote unquote, negative, fear, rejection,
Anxiety,
etc. What are the first things that you see happening, not to yourselves, or to some of your clients? Like, okay, COVID is a point of reference, but today the world is moving really fast, right? There's a lot of complexity in our world. There's a lot of different type of news, and we still need to go out and do our lives and live our lives and try to enjoy through all that chaos that is happening. But all the chaos at the same time is creating a narrative inside our minds, whether it is media enforced, whether it's social media, whatever, or if it doesn't matter. There's a narrative out there that creates a narrative inside me. So if something is not going as it's supposed to go, right? Then all these narratives start working in my mind. And when these narratives start working in my mind, what are the messages that I'm receiving or what is happening? Is there those cycles where I go to, look, I'm feeling this, so, okay, I know what it is, but I know what it is now. Now I'm feeling this other thing, and I start going in a negative cycle.
Yeah, I didn't say kind of like a negative cycle. I could say like a known pattern. It turns on the negative cycle, but in my case it was like a pattern, a way of thinking. So it was my initial thought, and then I say, okay, I get stuck into it, and I have a lot of excuses why I was over there. So as we have finished this workshop with horses, I want to make this reflection about horses. Everything is uncertain when you go out there. And for me, it was very clear, because I've been working with them, that if my standpoint is going to be, I know everything, then I'm lost.
Yes. So, and you might know what you're doing every day. So we have this cycle of fear and then recognition, or emotion and recognition. I have an emotion and I recognize the emotion. Now we're talking about change, trying to move from point A to point B. And most of the times when change happens, change can come and hit on the door and not even let you know, it just walks in, like when COVID came in, just like, boom, I'm here. Now you have to do something about it, right? So everybody first was like, oh, this is uncertain. This has never happened. What are we going to do? And start looking for answers everywhere. And we couldn't stop looking for answers. Everybody was either on the news, Google search, getting newspapers, and trying to find out answers. And when you go into this unstoppable way of looking for answers, it's a clear message that you're on a stage of fear, right? And then, so you start recognizing, okay, where I am now, and we just work with this. How many people, to get out of that one, they need the perfect answer instead of the first step?
Whoa, that's a great question. I mean, I guess not all, but most of humans, we need answers instead of being able or have the desire, for saying, quote, desire to do the steps. I mean, it's like very easy, because I don't have the answer, because there are a lot of uncertainty, then I don't move. And you can see it with horses.
You can see it with horses.
When they need to do an exercise, move from one side to another side, there's so much going on over there that they don't move.
Right.
They don't make these first steps.
But once the first step is taken, it's a lot easier that movement keep going, right?
Yep.
When the first step is taken, it's a lot easier that the second step happens, and then the third step happens. And with that, Joseph, as you have lived your life, worked with some people, been in multiple workshops to this day, and being able to practice, how difficult is for the people that you see to really understand that is the first step what it matters, rather than having the big answer? Because the big answer sometimes gives me like, oh, so you're telling me that the answer is beyond that door, let me get to that door. But sometimes we don't know that the answer is there. Probably 90% of the times we don't know if the answer is going to be there. We just know that we're going to feel more comfortable getting to that door, right? So let's start moving in that direction. How have you seen this working for you personally in your life, with some clients, with some friends?
It's a hard undertaking, because when you're in an area of uncertainty, you want some form of answers that things are going to be okay, and then no one's able to give you those answers. And then even if they are, well, you're still in an area of uncertain with an answer you're not quite trusting in. And then people are giving you steps on how to get out of this, and yet now it's been too long. Now I know what's uncertain. I'm in a level of uncertainty to where this has become normal, and I'm comfortable in it, and I'm asking for what's over there in that corner, and you're like, it's a corner, it'll be better. And I'm like, how do I, what do you mean it'll be better? I'm just getting asked, I'm gonna ask more questions. And so I feel like when it comes to giving people steps of short little things, it's like, you don't have to go over that corner. You don't have to go over that corner. Go right there. Just take one step forward. And get comfortable with that step and take the next step forward. And before you know it, you're going to get comfortable taking the steps, and then you're in the corner where, whether or not it is actually better, you're going to have built this stride to where if it's not better, you can just keep taking steps and find somewhere else.
So what you're saying is that by taking the first step, you start creating an emotion inside me, confidence, that is helping overcome this emotion of fear.
Yes.
Because this uncertainty is creating some fear. So what I'm understanding is like, okay, don't look to get to where you need to go if you cannot take the first step. And because you might find a lot of excuses going in that direction. You know, there's a swamp, there's this, there's that, there's how I'm gonna be able to do this, how I'm gonna be able to grow, how I'm gonna be able. Settle down, take a big breath, and let's just take the first step.
Yeah.
And by taking one step at a time, that is creating a level of confidence inside you, and that empowers you to keep moving.
You're giving yourself some momentum to move forward, because as humans, we are a very adaptive species and become very settled and comfortable in the environment we're surrounded in. And if once we become settled in that environment, whether it be good, bad, or uncertainty of fear, we become comfortable in it.
Right.
And so taking that first step out of what we have now become comfortable in and have adapted to is now stepping into more uncertainty, which we don't want. We just got scared of being uncertain, and we just became comfortable in this new environment. And now you want me to step into more uncertainty?
Right.
It's this fear. And so once you take that first step and you're willingly taking this step, you're not being thrown into a new environment, you're taking the step into a new environment, you're going to start to realize, oh, this is okay. I took one step. That's okay. I'm safe. I can take another single step, right? Oh, that was safe. I can take another single step because I've taken 2 steps so far and I'm safe. And so jumping out of comfortability and into uncertainty, as opposed to being forced into uncertainty, is very different, because when we're forced into it, we naturally, instinctively adapt to it to make ourselves feel safe and comfortable.
Oh, so you have brought an amazing topic, because we're moving now from this uncertainty that puts you somewhere, and probably you have the urgency to get out. You know, there's an urgency, like if I stay here, there's a burning platform underneath me and I need to move. And then you go like, okay, yes, that's one. But how about comfortability? How about when you're on your comfort zone and it's better there, and no matter how much damage is that doing to me,
Yeah.
I don't need to take another step. I'm comfortable here.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you something, by the
Yes.
way. Well, both of you, but you're the one that wrote chapter 3. So you own a company. You have a lot of clients. What makes the difference between trying to save your company, to move, to offer, to make this support web, you say? Instead of others leaders that they were just like, I don't know what inside of you. I mean,
Survival.
okay,
Survival. So that chapter also refers to those learning things that you have. So when I started feeling what was happening in COVID, first thing I thought was 2008. when we had the financial crisis, and I lost a lot of revenue in my company. I mean, I really went down, and many things happened at the same time. We got the crisis. I got divorced. I got a lot of expenses coming into place. So I was on the negative side, and it took me a while to get out of that. When I was almost out of all that, when COVID came, I'm like, oh no, I'm not living this again. I'm not going into. I already know what it is, and if I don't react fast, then I'm going to be too late. Now, I had different tools. It was just the experience. I have different tools. I had just finished my master's in leadership and change, so I had all the knowledge in my head, and I felt I had a responsibility also at that time, right? I have all this knowledge. I know all this. I need to put it in action. It was survival on one side. It was the instinct of responsibility. But you know, when you have a company that you depend on the income to keep surviving yourself, your clients, your co-workers, everybody around you, you become creative. You try to find not answers, but you're trying to find movement. So what we're trying to do here in this conversation, and we have identified this emotion that is happening: fear, uncertainty, comfortability. I love that one. And then we go into the recognition. I'm recognizing I'm feeling this. I'm recognizing that I'm in this place. Now, why do I want to move to the corner? Why do I want to move to the door? Why do I want to move somewhere else? That's a different emotion that we need to create. Because if we don't do that, then we go on this vicious circle that I go from the emotion to recognizing to create, like, well, that's going to be worse, so let me do this. Oh no, that's probably going to be worse. And then all of a sudden we're creating a lot of anxiety in ourselves, and we're like, okay, everybody shut up, I don't want to hear anything else about this topic. And then happens what you said. Then we become accustomed, we become comfortable with that, and like, okay, now don't move me from here. And so if there's a sense of urgency to move from when we are, I think when change just comes and pushes you, you feel that urgency too. But what happened with that change that comes, you know, kind of a smoke under the door that all of a sudden you don't see it, you don't smell it, and what you're saying, like oh, something smells like it's not good. But then I start getting used to the smell. And then by the time I realize I'm in the middle of a cloud of smoke inside my own cocoon, and then at that point, is it too late to move? Is it not too late to move? And I think the biggest thing for me is, do I need to know the final answer, or do I need to do what Joseph said, just take the first step and then let it happen? Then let the next step happen, and let's keep moving towards a different direction. And then as we move on, there's probably going to be a lot of creativity of what we're doing, and we're creating momentum to get to a different place. In the midst of all that, Joseph said, implicity, I put the word on it, we're creating confidence. Is it confidence? Is it self-worth? Is it empowerment? Is it all of them?
I believe it's a mixture. It's trust.
Trust, I like it.
Because if I can take that one step, I trust I can take one step. I take another, that's one step. But now it's two steps. So I trust I can take two steps. And then I'm taking all these steps, and I trust I can do that because I just did it. So I know for a fact I can do it. I trust and believe in that. And then that starts building into that confidence. That starts building into that self-fulfillment and self-power.
And can we do it alone? Or is it easier to have somebody with us? Can we rely on something?
For me, it's it's really easy to answer that. It's better to do it with someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's quite clear. That's a herd of horses. Horses don't live just one over there. It's a herd of lions, and they don't leave just one up there. This species, and I believe human species, work together towards one goal, one ideal, or whatever. I think that there's a middle step, or I believe it's a middle step, what we are talking. And I would put it into words is the presence. Once you connect with that presence, you were talking about faith and trust and whatever. I just keep it in the you move enough energy that you can share that energy with everyone. It's not block that energy. When you have fear, it's blocked.
I'm gonna put a word over here. Let's see what this word does. Hope. How important is hope?
Well, personally, I'm a big hope guy. I don't think anyone anywhere in the history of the world has gotten or done anything without some amount of hope in them. And so I think it's one of the most important things. And when it comes to doing things on our own or asking for help, yeah, we can do things on our own. Anybody can do something on their own. We can find hope in ourselves, sure. But God, does it get easier when we ask for help? It gets easier when someone inspires a little bit of hope, or is that hope in us? So I think it's never above or below anybody to ask for help, and I don't think anyone gets anywhere without help,
So it's
directly or indirectly.
So it's okay to ask for help.
Oh, 100%, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't make me less.
No, never.
I think it makes you less if you don't ask for help.
Yeah.
How about hope for you?
Same as Joseph. And I don't know if I will be more prone with faith than hope.
Yeah, and I think that could be also lost in translation from Spanish to English.
Oh yeah, could be. But I mean, if they have the same meaning,
Hand in hand.
absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I have this I say this phrase that it's faith is the absence of doubt.
Faith is the absence of
Doubt.
doubt. It's pretty cool.
And it's a hard one.
Yes. Yes. How easy is to lose hope on those dark moments in our lives? Because you talk about having somebody that inspires you, asking for help. How easy is to lose hope, lose faith when we are on those dark moments? Because that's when leadership really comes, right? In the dark moments. When things are going great, there's not a lot of lessons to learn over there. It's when things are not going great. It's when things are going difficult that leadership emerges. And part of being a leader is asking for help. Understanding when you can't or when you won't or where you need that extra push, that extra inspiration, that extra word that really pushes out. So having a network of people is important.
Oh yeah, it is, and I would like to say that even if you lack a network, because some of us aren't so fortunate to have such good and kind people or family and friends in our lives, I rely on the kindness of strangers sometimes, because while there is evil out in the world, there is overwhelmingly good. As much as bad is focused on, there is overwhelmingly good. And if you need something good and there's no one directly in your life, ask a stranger, talk to a stranger, find somebody, because there's gonna be someone out there in our incredibly big and small world that will give you all the kindness and hope you need and more.
And you know what? I mean, you guys know I spend more time on a plane than in my house, probably.
Probably.
I get to talk to a lot of people at airports. I get to talk to a lot of people. I mean, I sit down at bars in airports and I sit at the bar so I can talk to people next to me. And you're absolutely right. I mean, there's more kindness, there's more nice people all over the world. And we give so little meaning to that because media sells everything else that is negative. That has, that has some money behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about good things in life is not that much. So we're talking about, again, uncertainty, that feel, the comfortability, the emotion that we recognize. And we said, if we don't create an action, then that's just going to become a circle over here.
Yes.
So let's think about the action. If we are creative to say, okay, what's my first step? That can put us on a growth moment, right? We just saw that today in our last exercise that we did.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we saw 4 amazing stories of people dealing with completely different things, with 4 different backgrounds, from 4 different parts of their moment in lives, and all of them, when they trust themselves, when they trust the environment that we're in, when they trust the network, the way they finish, you can see them all smiling, empowered, moving forward.
Yeah.
You can feel growth is happening, right?
And that's a very reliable part for me, at least. Feel. When you feel that growth, it connects. It's contagious. So as a leader, I must think to be contagious for my team in order they feel it.
Yeah. Can never stop growing to show that there's no limit. We can all still grow more. I'm not telling you to get where I am. I'm telling you to do what I'm also doing. I'm showing you like I'm becoming. I want to become better. I'm trying to become better. And all these people are gonna see that. And anybody who has a slight inclination of wanting to be different than who they are today and a better version of themselves, they're gonna see that and be like, they're trying. They're still trying, and they're pushing for it. I'm gonna do that exact same. I'm gonna try harder. I wanna be like that, and that's how I think of that.
So that becomes an inspiration to others, right? Which
Yes.
is a great thing to happen. So we're moving into our next chapter, and our next chapter. So this is building us also a lot to talk about in the next chapter, which is going to be resilience. So next month we're going to talk about resilience and some of the theories behind that chapter, and how can we get ourselves to get up, like from that comfortable seat that we shouldn't be. There's some comfortable seat that we should be, but we know which ones we shouldn't be, right? That's what we're talking about. Those times that you fall because you're going to stumble and you're going to fall, which we talk about is not failure, right? There's going to be a lot of tripping. There's going to be a lot of stumbles. But stumbles and tripping is not the same thing as failure. We cannot succeed if we're not allowing ourselves to trip, to fall, to get up, and to be stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any closing message on this podcast, Joseph?
Don't get lost in the negativity of your own emotions. Feel your emotions and move on from them. Your emotions are important, but don't get lost in them. Always have hope.
Julio?
COVID was a very stormy moment. that left most of us with ourselves. And I start to understand what does it mean to listen to me instead of being distracted. Meaning the presence. So the presence is, for me, you say it in a lot of workshops, neither the past, neither the future. It's what is happening right now. And next chapter, I love that topic. I really love that, and it's going to be great.
Thank you. Nothing else to add. Keep hope. Let's keep moving. Let it happen. Thank you.
Let it happen.
Let it happen.